Okay, let's get it in. Like I love to do with you all the time. And I'm making that movement just like I was talking about in the last video. I just want to jump into this a little bit right here. But just as I was talking about in the last video, how that movement with intent creates the energy and direction towards things becoming or manifesting, right? And and it's so many, and that the measurement of that movement is what we perceive as time, like the distance between the movement or incidents or things in complementary or relations or uncomplementary in incidents. But nevertheless, it is the calculation of the distance between the action and reaction, or the amount of time something rotates, or on and on and on. But it is the movement of that it is life. It is the movement of life itself and that phenomenon that we are tracking. And but what I'm really trying to talk about, my hair is a mess right now, and I'm just all frizzy and everything. I'm gonna be redoing my hair soon, and it's gonna take me about 4 hours. And so yeah, a lot of fun, but like the end result. But nevertheless, I wanted to talk about how that focus and intent, and how it kind of is permeating the space around you when you express the energy of your intent, right? And comes out in the form of words. So it's kind of like a play on word power a little bit. It's what I want to get into, you know what I mean? And other people touch on it, and there's so many, there's a lot of topics on it, and it's a fascinating topic. And as you know, I like to cover topics that seem interesting, or something that has some information, or that I just find it weird. But nevertheless, on this one with word power, which will start right away with with word, WORD. If you put S in front of it, is sword, and it's said completely different than word. Why isn't it ward, but it is sword when you have it the other way, which lets you know that with the resilience of your tongue behind it, that's like a snake that can slither, that it can become a weapon. You know what I mean? At the same time, but there's so much else to it. Those are just some of the interesting things that I've heard or read. But also amongst those things is the vibrational tone that things can take, and how we don't really understand what we're doing. We're like walking scientists, we're like walking technology, and don't even realize it, that we do such advanced things with the vocal cords, the ability to vibrate and to form the sound into focused measures, to make a pronounced, what we call a language, a word, communication, right? Well, everything that we say is power, and some things can empower you and then enrich your life, and other things can deplete you and degrade your life, right? So as we get into it, of course, people have heard I am, right? I am is a power word. I've touched on these before in the past. So if you haven't seen all my videos, please do check them all out. I do touch on these things because I found them interesting from the jump. So I just want to get back into it in 2023 to bring it back up about that word power. You've got I am, right? You also have I believe, all right? You have I can, I will, and I want. Understand? Or I need, right? But need is on a different spectrum, but I want, right? So all of them expressing different points of where you're focusing your entire being, because you're part of the same collective, but you are a perspective point. See what I'm saying? Because you're part of the same energy field, but you're a perspective point. So, what better way to make more motion than to have another jump off point, have another realization for an intent to make something else happen, right? So, just like nature around us, everything needs to flow one into the other, and it's all homogenous, not homogenous, but harmonious. There we go. I'm sorry, but harmonious. So, yeah, but so you have I am, I can, I will, right? I am is the state of your mental affinity at that time, like where you are in your mental space. I am. That's what you know what I mean? I can empower you. It puts you in a different state of direction, like, like an upshift in gears. I can do this, right? So you're always manifesting yourself into something that's going to take place or that can happen in tangible form versus the concept or idea beforehand. You know what I mean? So that's what directs you. I am, I can, I will, the willpower, you will it to happen. I will. I believe. I believe is a strong one because to put your heart behind a thought, see what I'm saying? So I believe is a tricky one because without in-depth study, you can't just say I believe, because if you believe everything, like what do they say? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything, right? So you would have to definitely take a stance to be knowledgeable in depth, so that way you only believe things that are going to enrich your life and make it a better place for everybody too. You know what I'm saying? Not just for yourself and your close family, but for everybody around. You know what I mean? Because what's a place when your life is good and everything else is trash, right? So on the negative side though of that same aspect, you have things like I can't, I won't, um, I hate. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, guys, to back it up real quick. Sorry, guys. I forgot. I love. I love. I like. I love those things as well. I love is probably the strongest resonance, you'll ever get. Love, even just the word love itself will be the strongest resonance of all. And so that one puts you in a state of being compassionate and observant and objective and things like that, and patient and all those things. I love, versus I hate, which is harsh, which always makes you focus on the things that you don't like to see, which is like a weed in the lawn. It's just whatever you don't want to see in the lawn at that particular time will drive you insane. So so you got to be real careful too, because you're also putting out a low frequency when you use words triggered like I hate, you know. So I won't, I can't, I hate. Um, what was the other one? I don't believe, I don't, right? So it's always I don't believe, I don't think, I don't, you know what I mean? So all these negative connotations also have that inflection upon your psyche and your blood and your heart, and you just, you're connected to everything. So whatever you put out, you also get back, you know what I mean? And so when you're breathing in the air, it can be positively charged around you. Keep this in mind, that it'll be positively charged around you from what you put out, or negatively charged around you from what you put out. And that can be by groups of people or just individually, if you're in your own space. But you be very mindful of the energy that you put into the air to be absorbed back into you or to be given to you as well. And that's when you want to take, if something's negative, that's when you want to take a negative and try to find the positive and redirect that energy into a higher source, so that way you can get back to being going on the road of motion forward and upward instead of backwards and downward, right? And also, when you breathe in that air, it has a thing that the Hindis called prana, right? And I know you've heard this before. Other people might have said, I'm breathing in the prana or whatever, right? And it's cool because what they're talking about, and that's how you could tell when someone studied too, that they know what they're talking about. Because when you get into the terms, it means they went ahead and they learn and they practice, you know what I mean? And so prana, and that's how I respect people like that and love people like that. And I want to meet more people like that. But anyway, the prana is the electrified ionized particles that are released from crystal and jewel deposits in the earth, like in underground caves and things that are fused with gold, that let off these charged ionized particles, I believe, that rise up and on a microscopic level and permeate the atmosphere and is carried around by the current of the air and the ocean. And that is what we breathe in when the sunlight comes through, cascades and ionizes them. And that's actually what we're breathing in. That's kind of like what our brain, that's what the concept is, that our brain and we as well are an electric being more than we are a carbon being that we think like the outside is carbon, the inside, the workings that make it all go is electric. You know what I mean? So what you're doing is recharging when you breathe in that good air. You know what I'm saying? Also, what I thought was interesting, which I'll get into another time, which is you breathe in through the left nostril and it influences the right side of the brain. You're breathing from the right nostril and it influences the left side of the brain. Right side creativity and see A to C without B type stuff. And then left side for all the logic, structure, and all those kind of things and calculating abilities. You know what I mean? So if the objective though is to get everything working harmoniously, mind, body, and spirit, and you can influence both sides of the brain even when you're awake. And that is when you're the most effective. So that way you have vision with practicality, making something real, and that's a person who can manifest destiny on a big scale like you've never seen. You know what I mean? That's a great place to be, and that's where we all aspire to be. um so yeah, so getting into that, so it permeates the air, you breathe it in, that's the prana, that's the electrified particles, that's that good air, that good energy that I'm always talking about, not the bad energy. If you feed off the bad energy, it'll make you sick. The body follows the mind. And not only that, there's a thing called sound geometry. So if you think that it's not science, it definitely is. They are one and the same. You can't get away from it because it's what you are and it's where you live. It just has nothing to do with how you feel. It just simply is what it is. Every time you speak, it's like high science. Every sound that you make in an octave has a sound geometry or a wave. And then when you make a particular word or another, it also will be making multiple signatures, if not one complex signature. So that definitely does mean that it has a defined mathematical, quantifiable imprint with a result. So it's like this equals that. You know what I'm saying? So it has a quotient. It has substance and it has a quotient. So there you, I mean, well, you know, that is the quotient, but you know what I mean? Like it definitely has an effect. It has weight and it affects you. And when you have something like a magnetic spectrum, which means that you're inside of a electromagnetic field, right? Dielectric, positive, negative, it makes what we call, I think it's I always say this word wrong, toriad shape. But that also can be seen as a figure eight, which is the way the blood flows through your heart. Your heart pumps the blood, and I believe it's almost a figure eight fashion. Um, it lets off a magnetic frequency current and lets off a current. That same current, that pulse is what it is. A pulse is said to be what makes things solid. It's when energy goes from one wall to the other wall, and that's what we're hearing, boom, 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 which I've heard be expressed as a figure eight looking like an infinity symbol. But if you made it 3D, it looks like a toriad shape, which is also the same shape as your blood cells. See what I'm saying here? So it's all governed by the same thing. So also, when you get things like the water experiment, electrified water experiments, all these things, seeing if water can communicate, have memory, in which it does, which you find fascinating, and you see sound geometry done on a small to large scale and sound manipulation, you start to realize that these things do have effect, because what are you other than carbon and electric? You are mainly water. Okay, so within the water of your blood, you breathe in energy. It then imprints itself into your blood, into the water in your blood, imprints itself through the energy carrying cells, passes through your heart, distributes itself throughout your whole entire body. Think about this. Just think about that. That's powerful. And like I said in the other video, yes, words can kill. Words can heal. Words can kill. Words can influence to kill. Words can influence to build and uprise and make something beautiful. See what I'm saying? So we have to be careful with the way that we use words in every premise. And other people have said this too. I agree. I'm right on board. And if you feel the same way, then I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? Let's roll. So, man, I just wanted to share some of that with you, and because I thought it was interesting. But this is the power of words, the power of sound, the power of science, which is one and the same. Life, science, there's no distinctive difference between the two. Like how they say magic in science. Maybe we're the magic. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we're part of that side that we can't explain, right? We're the thing that can build buildings and societies and make rules and laws and make devices. I don't see any monkeys or zebras doing that. I still say to this day we're the weirdest thing here besides the history that we can't explain. So, you know, so we are this thing that's one and the same, and we live in a spectrum that is all connected electromagnetically. You know what I mean? Through all the resonance, vibrations, expressed in every color, expressed in every tone, and expressed in every energy sequence or form. You know what I mean? Whether it's low rumbles to exciting molecules to move, to make friction, or if it's straight up from the molecules being so excited that they ignite, and that can create lightning, and on the lower level can cause reactions to stimulate one another and create fire. I know it's a bit much, but people out there know what I'm talking about. So with that though, the power of words. Yeah, you can say words to a person that will uplift them, motivate them, just like in brainwashing. It only takes 3 weeks to start sinking into a person that if the interaction is the same with them consistently over and over and over, their brain waves begin to bend downward or upward towards the person's expression towards them, the relationship, because the expectation of the other individual, the receiver, the expectations are starting to be met. So the brain waves will taper to the expectations. So one will uplift and then continue to uplift. The other one will bring them down. They start to continue to bring them down. And it only takes a little while because your blood is being stained. So there's been news that's been given to people that have literally dropped them to their knees, literally knocked them out, put them in a coma, literally killed them, gave them a heart attack. See what I'm saying? Gave them ulcers, stress, high blood pressure, all these things, terrible things, terrible things. And no one should seek to dump negative energy into anybody, because it's just like almost like running around with a weapon. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a state of expression, because I don't want people to run away with that and say, yeah, you said something mean to me, you're trying to kill me. But I say have thicker skin than that and be about your business. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody get under your skin so easily. But I would say though, if it's coming from a negative place, to check yourself first, you know, and find a different way to say it. You know what I mean? Find a different way to say it. Don't let that also, you know, don't take that energy with you. You know what I'm saying? Don't be the one who's like, I'm gonna say it like this and I'm gonna fucking, you know, I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna blow up and I'm gonna act a fool on this person. Just don't shake hands with that. You don't take that either. You know what I'm saying? Don't take that disservice to yourself and your time on this planet, and you supposed to be growing and having a good life and all that shit. So don't take that with you neither. But check yourself. Cooler heads will prevail. Calm down, find a better way to say it, just like I do before I do these videos, and then go with the heart. You know what I'm saying? Go with the heart. You got a family, they got a family. Somewhere, somehow, someone love you and care. You know what I'm saying? So always go with that. We trying to get back to the love. So with that being said, power of the words, energy coming through your body, you know, going through your body, making imprints and traveling all through, and your body will follow the mind and follow the influence. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it going. Let's keep it growing. Let's keep it moving. Let's stay alive. All right, y'all. I love you. All right, till next time. Peace.